Good morning, friends. This morning I want to talk about software. I've been working on my Synergetics 101 playlist at this point. That's up to about 21 videos. Um, Mostly it was done as a sort of pilot run, see where I'm at with making YouTubes about this. I want to inspire imitators. So I have somewhat low production values, you could say. The content is public. Terms of Synergetics is out there. So when you learn about how the A and B modules make the cube and how you can dissolve the cube into mites, which in turn become A and B modules, and how you can turn those mites into sites, which is SYTES. Remember the bytes, lights, and rights. Now I might have got the Kate and cat reversed. We had Kate, and cat as kites. Kites are made of two um, sites. And three ways to make half couplers, basically, where couplers are also units of volume. Anyway, I was talking to David Koski and his way of doing cat and Kate, and for him it's bytes make the Kate, and no, that's how I do it. He does bytes make the cat, and rights make the Kate. Now, right, I could show you this in another video. Anyway, we've already covered this material. Today it's about software. So on purpose, I have Anaconda sort of here in front because now Anaconda is a distro of the Python computer language, but it's an ecosystem, it's a bundling, it's a distro, and it gives you a download mechanism and an upgrade mechanism and a nice selection to start with of easy-to-use tools such as Spider. When I teach my 40-hour Python course, I've spent most of my time using Spider as my REPL, if you know what a REPL is. So that's Python. Let me bring in a browser here and talk about two more pieces of software and a genre. Three more pieces of software in a sense, but really two and a genre. One of them I want to look at is Antiprism by Adrian Rossiter. Now these utilities, they're in the public, they're written in C or MIT license. What's cool about these command line utilities is, first of all, they're well documented. Don't be afraid of command line utilities. They all have switches. They're like POSIX, and they all feed into each other is the thing. They're written in classic command line style so that the output of one can become the input of another. Now there's good examples. There's a great album. So you can get geodesic spheres, you can get hexapence. When I work with my friend Glenn, who by the way, he's just delivered a beautiful caltrop that I plan to use in future videos. Perhaps you remember when I talk about quadrays in the video 4D in Synergetics. I use this as a coordinate system where you can do linear combinations of these three vectors to get all the points in this sector. Anyway, there's software involved in that. I use Python to do quadrays, so I'm kind of linking to quadrays on purpose to suggest how you might use Python to help you with Synergetics. I've got software for you on GitHub, but I'm not going to really talk about my stuff right now. This gives you a sense of what Adrian's program will do. Check out the album, download the software, and get on your way. Glenn Stockton, I was going to say, works with hexapence. Grids where you can take the globe and put pentagons. You've got your equator, you've got your other pentagons. You've basically created a matrix, a two-dimensional, as we classically say, a flat grid of hexagons and pentagons. As many hexagons as you want. I mean, not exactly as many. You can't say I want 3. You can't say I want 217 only. But you can keep boosting the number of hexagons in regular multiples if you're doing a hexapent. Multiples of 3 frequency, as we would say. So check out Antiprism. Now another one is Scott Vorthman. Has done an amazing job getting VZome. Now there's another one too. This isn't the only one that gets you on the Visa or on the Zoom Tool namespace. You know about Zoom Tool, right? So Zoom Tool is a plastic toy made with these hubs that lets you connect in these rods and basically build these shapes. And what Scott has done is created a virtual environment where you can play around with all these toys just on your screen. And it's a good complement for actually owning some of the toy because they go together basically. My friend David Koski uses VZome all the time to make his intricate films about the modular dissection of various shapes. Anyway, I won't repeat all of what he does here, but it's a critical tool for him, this VZome. So the genre I wanted to talk about was, let's see if I can find this quickly. What does he call it again? Tim Tyler? Here we go. Let's just search here. Springy is what he calls it. So let's see if I can get to Springy. Yes. Now the genre of software here is what I call elastic interval geometry, which is where you take, it didn't take me to Springy, where you take, let's try that again. Okay, let's go here. Okay, you take intervals and you assign them pull together springishness and a push apart. So when they reach too close together, they're exponentially pushing, and when they're too far apart, quote, too far, they're pulling back. So the combination of intervals that have the springiness stuck together in space, kind of like Vorthman and VZome. It's like VZome with tension added. Tension both pushing out and pushing in. So you can get all kinds of very interesting springy things, and Tim Tyler has put a huge amount of work into, you can then ray trace them, right? And with ray tracing you can add special effects like water and air and things like this. Now you can do this with anti-prism as well. They're both friendly to POV ray, VRML, and things that allow you to render amazing. There's a hexapent right there. Now what I'm not showing you are the animations where these things jiggle like crazy. Now I call it a genre because Gerald de Jong, inspired by Kenneth Snelson, the master of tensegrity. I have an original Snelson here, by the way. He and I were friends. As of this recording, Kenneth passed away last year in December. This is called Barrel Tower. And shortly after 9/11, I had to take this through Newark Airport in October, a month later. It wouldn't fit through the X-ray machine, so I kind of had to break protocol. I didn't want to make it checked luggage either, but you can see it doesn't look very threatening, and they let me on the plane with it. So Kenneth Snelson lived in New York City. He was a native Oregonian. A lot of stories there. So Gerald was in Holland. He's Dutch and saw this huge tensegrity tower that they have in one of the parks there, and that inspired him to do more research and figure out about how to write elastic interval geometry programs. He started with something called Struck, and he went on. Now, if you look up beautiful code, no, that won't work anymore. If you look up Darwin at Home on YouTube, I think you'll get to the output of his program, but I don't know if you can easily find the program he used to create this anymore. It used to be easy to get online. I think because Synergetics never really took off since the 70s till now, a lot of this interesting culture that was developing kind of got suppressed, not consciously or anything. It's just people weren't connecting the dots at all or teaching this material. So a lot of very interesting things have gone away. Anyway, check out Darwin at Home in 10 minutes. It shows you these interesting creatures as they struggle to make distance across a plane. And that's a good picture of what a global matrix would look like if you had very high frequency hexagons. You wouldn't see the pentagons hardly ever because there's only 12 of them. They could be buried and tiny in terms of hard to find. Although these are not perfectly regular hexagons, so if you had a very sensitive measurement, you could zoom in on you could find those pentagons pretty quickly if you were just left in the desert with nothing but this sensorometer. Actually, there'd be more than one to choose from. There'd probably be a closest one. Anyway, all fun stuff to model in software, right? Check out Divided Spheres by Popco, and you're on your way. Python, Antiprism, the springy stuff, the Zome tools, spin-off program, especially VZome is what I'm most familiar with, and I'm not the expert. And then this genre of what we call elastic interval geometry software. That'll get you going. Talk to you soon.